I'm your host, Alex Monaco. Welcome to Drop the Ball. We're talking NFL today, baby. Woo! You got to love football. 1 month ago, 3 AFC teams, 10-2. Patriots, Bengals, Broncos. NFC got the undefeated Panthers. Very competitive Arizona team. Minnesota, they face off this week. Got the Pack. We get to watch the NFC East drama, which, let's be honest, it's like the E channel of the NFL, if you will. So welcome to Drop the Ball. It's going to be a live talk show on YouTube. We're going to be talking all kinds of sports, having on guests. Today, I'm not sure we'll have anyone call in. I host a on-camera sports show with pro athletes where I interview and challenge them to outrageous activities and have some good times with that. But I also have a podcast I call in with sports personalities, athletes, among others. I've had a few comedians on as well. Check that out, All Extraordinary Sports. That's with an X. Thank you very much. XTRA, Ordinary Sports. But I want to talk perfection for a moment. And it involves, obviously, the Carolina Panthers and their 12-0 start. Unbelievable comeback this last week against the New Orleans Saints. They just played flawlessly down the stretch. Obviously got down early, 14-0, had to battle back consistently throughout that game. Cam took a knock. Worried about his head there, but he was okay ultimately. But here's my 2 cents. We got a team that has seen someone in the most, recent memory of the last 10 years go down this path of perfect regular season. Let's try and go 19-0 in the New England Patriots, the year they got knocked off by the Giants in the David Tyree catch. If a team like the Panthers that hasn't really been on this stage before, now they've been in the playoffs. I know they've won a couple games with Cam in the playoffs, so credit them there. They're not new to the playoffs. But being the front driver's seat of the NFC with the playoffs coming through your neck of the woods, with Super Bowl, obviously, implications. I think the fans, the team, coaching staff, everyone's all in. If you give a team like this that platform, 16-0, going into their first game in the playoffs, against a team like Seattle, who doesn't win their division, but they win 10 or 11 games because the Cardinals had a great year, they won 12. I'm concerned that this team might crumble. And I'm not knocking Cam as a leader. The guy's unbelievable. He's coming into his own this year more than ever. I think it's incredible. I'm just saying, the 16-0 thing, there's outside of the badge of honor of being undefeated in the regular season, I don't know how I fully feel about really wanting that going into the playoffs. If you lose, because, here's my other thought. Let's say this week Minnesota knocks off Arizona. They all of a sudden have 3 losses. That's the 2nd seed right now in the NFC. Minnesota and Green Bay, they play each other again. I think they're going to beat up on each other. I think Green Bay is going to beat Minnesota again. That's another loss for the 3rd team right now, if I'm not mistaken. So my thought is, if you are Ron Rivera and you get in a position in a couple weeks and you're 14-0, and Carson Palmer and the Vikings, and basically that's it, because the NFC East is not fighting for a seed at home field right now or a bye. It's a 3-team race, and really Minnesota's on the outside looking in. They got to go to Arizona this week, and then they got to play the Packers again this month. They could easily go 2-2 down the stretch. Anyways, don't want to get off topic there. What I'm getting to ultimately is, I'd like to see Carolina handle this with class and really a focus on the main goal, which is the Super Bowl. And I think they're doing that week by week. It is a week by week thing, but with the last month of the season, you heard it on Colin Cowherd's show, Sean Merriman, talking about how much guys are looking forward to a bye week, because that rest that body your body needs, just yearns for 10 weeks into the season, it goes without saying what that can do for the longevity of a frame going to battle week to week, especially a frame going into the playoffs. And by frame, I mean body. I'll thank you. So that's my little spiel opening rant, and I just don't want Carolina to drop the ball. You're listening to Drop the Ball, YouTube Live, baby, Extraordinary Sports. And we're going to be talking a lot here in the weeks to come, NFL. Now, I got a sheet in front of me. I color penciled it. That's right. So that means my handwriting's B-. But it's the last month of the season of the Pats, the Broncos, and the Bengals. Two teams going to stay on the trend, or two leaders of being in this position before. One team not so much. Now, the Bengals have won double-digit games multiple times. They've won their division. Heck, they've gone to the playoffs 4 straight years under Andy Dalton. But Marvin Lewis has a goose egg right now, and Andy Dalton has a goose egg. And those are the two leaders of the team going into the playoffs. I don't want to talk playoffs just yet. I want to talk the last month of the regular season. What I'm looking at right here, people. And my goodness, these little freaking breaks that happen to the Patriots, because it just happens. For some reason, they just get a fortunate little egg thrown their way, a nugget, whatever you want to call it. Pisses me off. And you know what that is this week down the stretch? Week 16. Denver versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati at Denver. That means a team's losing in the 2 seed, or the 1 seed, or the 3 seed. But I'm looking at the Pats' schedule at Houston this week. I think they're going to dismantle Houston. I apologize to Houston in advance for what's going to happen, because I think it's going to be an unload of just pent-up non-execution for 2 weeks, because the Patriots lost back-to-back for the first time in 3 seasons. And that doesn't happen very often. And not to mention they lost giving up a special teams touchdown, a block punt, and a run back by Sproulsing. Excuse me, a Malcolm Jenkins punt return touchdown. Pickoff touchdown. Biting my words there. Should have just said 3 non-normal touchdowns. All right, so you got the Pats at Houston, then they host Tennessee, then they're at the Jets, then they're at Miami. I mean, Miami's not going to have much to play for in Week 17 outside of division pride. The Jets is going to be my only loss for the Patriots going down the stretch, which would put them at 13-3 on the year. Pretty fantastic year with the injuries and the really lack of offensive personnel that they've had on a consistent basis due to injury and all that jazz. Denver, their last month, we're looking at Oakland, that they're hosting, at Pittsburgh. Oy! Hosting the Bengals, hosting the Chargers. All right. If it's Osweiler, here's my prediction. Beating the Raiders, losing on the road in a very speculative game with Osweiler at quarterback. You heard it here, folks, on Drop the Ball. Osweiler is going to be dropping the ball. I foresee Pittsburgh really stamping their playoff approval to the entire league, the entire audience of the NFL, with this win in a couple weeks against a powerhouse like Denver coming into town. Then, of course, they got the Bengals, and then they got the Chargers. Now, the good news is 3 of their next 4 are at home. If it's with Osweiler, that helps even more so, because he gets the backing of the home crowd, and obviously their defense has been playing just lights out at home. But, nevertheless, with Osweiler, I think this is a 2-2 down the stretch effort. Here's why. Osweiler, he's been playing very well, and he looks very comfortable. I mean, the man sat, I think, 57 starts was the actual amount. It was like the longest or first or second rounder has sat in years. Everybody else has got a shot. You watch all these guys, and he sat back and he learned. He's done a tremendous job. I'm rooting for the guy. I think he's a fantastic presence. I mean, the trajectory of throwing down, it's hysterical, and I love watching it. And, you know, I'm not in the 6 foot club, so anybody in the 6 foot club balling, especially 6'8", it's nice to see. But I just think Pittsburgh's going to take care of them, and then they may beat the Bengals at home. I think they actually might. I actually think the Chargers might take a random loss that means nothing to them except for division pride, of course. I'm from San Diego, so I'm broadcasting right now, actually. But I'm shouting out the Chargers on a Week 17 upset, if you want to call it an upset. Personally, I think we should be in the position of the Chiefs right now. You know, looking at an 11-5, possibly 12-4 season, but that's another topic. We're going to stay on what's going into January and so on and so forth. So the Bengals last month, we got versus the Steelers, at the Niners, at the Broncos, hosting the Ravens. 2-2. 2-2. And I say that easily, because Pittsburgh is going to be a handful. That's a divisional game. The Niners have nothing to play for but upside, kind of a playing with house money type mindset for them with Tomasula and obviously Gabbert now with how they've handled Kaepernick. It's kind of just a pressure-free environment. They could go in and they could shock Cincinnati. And then it's at Denver, which I just mentioned. I think Denver might take that one actually. And then you got the Ravens. So I mean, it could even be 1-3. I'm going to give them more credit. I think they'll probably beat Baltimore. They should beat Baltimore. But, I mean, AFC North games, if you've been watching, I mean, forget about it. Anybody can beat anybody minus the Browns. So it's Steelers, Ravens, Bengals. Anyone can beat anyone. You're listening to the Extraordinary Sports live Drop the Ball show. We're streaming on YouTube, baby. Oh, yeah. We hit 1,000 subscribers, so we're excited about the opportunity to go live. We're going to continue coming at you live because I enjoy hopping on the mic and talking radio, baby. I'm out of water, so Beastie Boys, let me clear my throat. If anyone got that out there, I'm excited. Here's my other thing that I love watching, that I already kind of alluded to earlier in the broadcast, is the NFC East. I mean, my goodness gracious. 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 4-8. Is Jerry Jones looking like a genius right now for not putting Tony Romo on IR? Season-ending IR at that? I mean, this game is the funniest game in all the mini games in the NFL right now. It's a carousel. And you just had the Eagles beating, I mean, Chip Kelly, who's kind of looked at as a modern day Chip Kelly, minus 22, check please, is beating Belichick, and now literally the town in Philly goes from not down to down. I mean, they're week to week over there. No long-term leases ever signed in Philly. Can't believe Andy Reid. And that's all, folks. Oh, what the don't tell